Ready wins. Fatality.
Happy New Year's Eve. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. Happy New Year. Happy New Year's Eve. It's the last episode of the year. I wanted to come on, do the top 5 most incredible political moments in 2022 here in the city of Yonkers. And then off to celebrate. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Happy New Year's Eve, the last episode of the year 2022. And I want to go over the top 5 most incredible political moments of 2022. It was quite a ride this year, right, politically. And so me being new to politics here in the city of Yonkers, it's the perfect time to get in. I get to see a lot of the craziness. I mean, last year was just as crazy. Tasha Diaz, remember, screamed out, "Let's get it poppin'," just before she went and they voted on the housing ordinance that she flip-flopped on. But folks, first I want to talk about John Rubo really quick. John Rubo, and this is not one of the top 5. Maybe it's a bonus. Let's say top 6. John Rubo calling a constituent a scammer. I thought that was pretty bad and very incredible. What do you guys think about that? Remember this meeting at the Bernice Breckman Center when they had a rally because they could not get their center opened up. It was taking forever. And John Rubo, the councilman of the 4th District, where their community center is located, was giving them a bunch of excuses. And then ultimately he gets so frustrated, with the whole process and everything that's going on, that he just says, you are all being, scammed by a scammer, right? And he points over to an advocate, someone who's been advocating for seniors here in the city of Yonkers for a very long time. It was a woman, very disrespectful, I think. And, someone who gives their time, money, and has been attacked, has had a political retribution, has dealt with that as well, and still continues to fight the good fight. It was very disrespectful, and to do it in front of everybody live while the Yonkers Voice guy was there, I was also there. It was just incredible. So I want to show people this John Rubo, and this is one of the things about John Rubo. He's not good, containing his emotions here. So check this out. Let's say that one more time. Look how red her face was, man. That was very embarrassing, John. That's a woman. And I find it very, interesting how they have, tried to create this narrative about me and how, I'm a stalker, I'm aggressive, I attack women, all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of crazy stuff. Yet, we've only seen this from other individuals. Many of them are elected officials, like John, embarrassing a woman, attacking a woman, essentially, insulting her in front of her peers, in front of people that she's advocating for. She's volunteering her time. She's trying to do something good. You're the elected official. You're supposed to be making sure that, the seniors are happy in your district, John. They are a huge, voting base. And that's probably why you almost lost to Carlos Burgos. And this is what you do to someone. And on live, recording here with, what's his name? Oh, no volume. You guys didn't hear it? Oh, there was no audio on it. I'm sorry. Let me try that again. It's can you hear me though? Can you hear me? It's very. I was saying it's unfortunate that you know that John Rubo would do that to a woman. You know, and I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Let's see if I can hear this again.
This was the second center to be done. The
Can you hear
first
it?
was Chima. So Chima started just before the pandemic. So during that time, we did the outside work because we didn't want to shut down multiple centers at once.
Let me know if you can hear it. If not, right away, real quick,
We
please.
started the work here. So the center wasn't closed for 2 years.
Yes, it was.
So you know when you get those calls from Con Edison, they say you owe $1,000 and they're scamming seniors? You're being scammed, folks. You're being scammed by that woman over there. The center was not closed.
No, yes, it was.
Hey, John. Again, that's Carolyn Elizabeth Marie, and she's been doing a lot here for the seniors and a lot of people in the community, not just, the seniors, but she's really big on advocating for senior and children, a social worker, giving her time. This is John, an elected official. He's being paid for this. And he insults and embarrasses her in front of people. I just thought that was very disrespectful, and I'll call for it. I just thought that was one of the incredible moments. Yes, this is from a man that committed PPP fraud and was sued in federal court by his employees. The seniors were and are very supportive. They're also being retaliated against still. We need a new administration. And that is what I'm, calling for. And a lot of people are as we're going into this new year. 2023 is very important. We have districts 1, 3, 5, and the mayor. And again, remember, folks, and I'll get into that in a second, the mayor and his administration pretty much stole our right to vote whether or not we want terms extended. There was no public referendum. Essentially, the city council, which consists of this gentleman right here, John Rubo, who are bought and paid for by the administration, the mayor, it's obvious by now, took it upon themselves to vote. And I'll get into that in a minute. But that was pretty incredible. I thought that was very disrespectful, Carolyn. He owes you an apology. He does. He owes you a public apology, but I doubt we'll ever get that from John Rubo. Well, anyway, number 5 on my top 5 most incredible moments of Yonkers politics, when Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the city council president, decided to use an important moment, the term limit vote meeting, to address critics and anyone who she says or feels may have attacked her personally. A waste, of the people's time, not the place for it, and a total distraction from what was truly the reason we were all there and we were all watching and concerned about it. And that this was, to me, very shocking moment. And I was surprised. I was even addressed in it.
Prayed. I researched. Please do not interrupt. I prayed. I did research. I talked to people. It wasn't just a decision that I thought of in my mind and said, you know what, that's what I'm running. I thought about it. It kept me up at night. I couldn't sleep. I wake up and I'm thinking about it. And then on Sunday, I got a phone call after going to church, because I went to church because I didn't get to be in the house of the Lord for him to talk to me about what he wanted me to do. And after I got home from church, I got a phone call from my cousin's child's mother asking me to get to Lawrence Hospital because they had been in a car accident. And I got there expecting to find my brother laid up in a hospital bed, but okay. And then the doctor notified me that my cousin didn't make it, and he was in a car accident with his 18-year-old son in the car, and his son was rushed to.
Can you hear the audio? Just make sure you can hear that. I want to stop it there because I was confused and maybe I got it wrong. Maybe I didn't hear it. And it was absolutely, William is correct. That's called a deflection. And I think everything that transpired that night at the meeting was a deflection and a distraction from the fact that these people were literally stealing our right to vote, stealing our government. It was a coup. This is pretty much a coup. They are taking over. They have conquered our government. And so she utilized this. But I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but she says she gets a call from her cousin's child's mother. He had been in an accident. She rushes to the hospital expecting to see her brother laid up in the hospital bed, injured but okay. And then the doctor comes and tells her that her cousin died. Was it her cousin or her brother? I was confused there. Or that I hear that incorrectly. I'm not sure. But this wasn't the time. And if it was something that was so, emotional and, something that was on your mind that was really just, keeping you from really being focused and being professional, then you should have, not been there that day. You should have went to, stood with your family at home and, and dealt with that situation. Not being insensitive, but this is important to the people and it has lasting effects. And many of us every single day have tragedies that we deal with. Mike Breen was not at the meeting before, right? Initially, when they introduced the legislation. And he was only in Aruba, right? It wasn't a family tragedy.
Just happened to have emergency surgery. And that very moment put this all in perspective for me. I wish that I could vote for 4 more years of my cousin's life. We're fighting about something that is not going to end our lives. But I still took it seriously. So much so, my cousin's son did not know that his father didn't make it in that accident one Sunday. And because he had to have emergency surgery, we withheld that information from him. And he knew that I was the one that went to check on his dad after the accident. So when I walked in the room, he said, "Auntie Keisha, is my dad okay?" And I looked him in the eyes and I said, "Mm-hmm." And he said, "Are you telling me the truth?" And I almost broke because I knew that I was lying to him and his father was dead. But instead, I said, "Focus on your surgery and we'll talk about it later." So when yesterday, his mom was telling him that his father was dead, and I was listening to you all. So if you don't think...
And she's referring to the public hearing at the public library over there at the Riverfront Library, that she was going through that then, and she still sat there and listened to everyone, And again, my condolences. I'm not trying to be insensitive, regardless of what you guys have tried to do to me, very disgusting stuff. I still don't wish death upon anyone and their family members. So I send my condolences, but this is important to a lot of people. And it's not fair to the people that do find this very important that you kind of hijack it with your personal issues, your tragedies, and then also, your desire to address your critics, which is what she does here. Let me move it up to it a little bit.
Not a term limit. Death is a term limit. That's the ultimate term limit. All of this can be done and undone. Death cannot be undone. So I ask you all, as passionate as you are, we may disagree, we may agree. I am the only person on this council that represents the entire city. So it's a harder task because I'm tasked with representing the interests of you all. I went so far as to have a conversation with my 16-year-old son and taking him to school because I just wanted...
Again, distracting from what we were all there for. We did not want to hear about your 16-year-old son. No disrespect. Again, the tragedy, you could have kept that to yourself. This was a time to address the fact that you guys were bypassing what the people wanted, or I should say ignoring what the people wanted, and quickly pushing this term limit extension through. I mean, they literally gave the people 10 days. 10 days from the time that it was introduced to the time that they passed it. We had a public hearing, then they passed it. They should have had town hall meetings, gone throughout the city of Yonkers, If they wanted to do the voting themselves, they should have gotten a real consensus from the people. And they did not do that. They did not do their due diligence. They said they did. They announced it on their pages, that they use, like the Tribune and Yonkers Voice and stuff like that. But did they really make every effort possible to let everyone know what was going on? I mean, there was one woman who came to the library who spoke, and she said, I just heard about it and I came straight from work. And then I went to City Hall instead, first, because the flyer that they had advertising it showed a big picture of City Hall, even though the meeting was at the Riverfront Library. Right? And so they did a lot of things that were very deceptive. And, I find interesting that at these meetings, they had the Yonkers Police Intelligence Unit there, also known as the Black Shirts. Why? Why were there no uniformed police officers present? People who clearly were identified as police officers. Why was Vinny Spano, the Yonkers city clerk, and the intelligence unit of the Yonkers Police Department at the Riverfront Library by 10 in the morning? At least I know when I went there, they were there. As soon as they saw me, Vinny ordered the guys to close the door. He walked away. But what were you guys doing there? What was Vinny doing there? He's the city clerk. Why is he interacting with the police department like he's the commissioner or something? And did you guys notice that fancy camera that they brought there to the Riverfront Library, and they also had it at this meeting? It's a facial recognition software. And so were they doing opposition research, getting people's facial recognition who are opposing this term limit to do information or research on them, see who they are so they can terrorize them, which they have been? It's very strange. All of that stuff is strange, and you'll see a lot of this in the Hector Santiago incident that I play here in a minute. But I want to move up a little bit to this, because she goes in. I want her, hear her when she says the CPG from CP, whatever.
Because I have been silent. So thank you, Ms. Parker, for having the conversation with me today and saying to speak my truth. I am not going to be a judge in January. I am an attorney. That is, of course, a dream of mine.
So again, she gave herself away. I'm not going to be a judge in January, although that is a dream of mine. No one said January, but many people have been speculating that for her introducing the term limit extension legislation, she will become a judge, a city court judge. Lakeisha never wanted to be in politics. They had to actually, convince her and force her to, not force her, but really, convince her to do it. And so she's only there for a short time. And so it may not be January, maybe after the primaries, or maybe after her term is up. But she will become a city court judge, as she says, it's a dream of hers. Lakeisha was just playing the sympathy. Yeah, absolutely. And then listen to what she says about the husband.
Why would I walk away from something that I worked so hard for just last year? It doesn't make sense. But that's the narrative that people wear in because they expect you to sell your soul. I'm never selling my soul. Anything, not to be council president, not to be a municipal housing authority employee, because the only title that matters to me in this world is mom. I was selling my vote for my husband to be a cop. Like my husband works at a supermarket or has some trivial job. My husband is a corrections officer and has been for 7 years. He's worked for New York State Corrections. Right now he works for Westchester County Corrections. Oh, yes. He's been through the hardest academy in New York State. Okay? He doesn't need a job, he has a career. My husband would be in uniform right now. There's no way I would vote for something that I have to wait for. My husband took the test last year when it was available, like anyone else could have taken the exam. My husband passed that exam before I was council president. I'm not selling my vote for a job to come down the line.
I think even Rubros was kind of like, okay, you heard him say, ugh, he kind of did one of those. She says that, I mean, she insulted a lot of people. Bottom line, if you work at a supermarket or if you have a job, as a cashier or whatever, she insulted people. My husband has a career. He doesn't have a job or some trivial job like a supermarket job. He has a career. He took one of the hardest exams. And yes, he passed the YPD exam. And if I, was going to sell my vote or sell my soul, I would have gotten what I wanted now. She then goes on to say, if I am voted out, because I think someone has said, we're going to vote you out. She says, I'll be on to bigger and better things. The arrogance. She utilized that entire time to focus on herself and her issues, her personal life, her beef with people. And I wonder if this was something that she was told to do, again, to create a distraction and get everyone talking about this instead of what happened that night in regards to the term limits. But I also think there's something deeper. I truly believe that they set her up. They wanted the Black people to look bad. And as I'm getting more information, specifically about, individuals going around meeting with community members and associations and saying that if Mike Spano is not elected mayor, that the Blacks will be taken over. This is what I've heard from several people now. And I think that they did this to make them look bad. So they can say, you see, this is what's going to happen if Mayor Spano's not elected. But newsflash to those individuals that were told this, it is Mayor Spano, Vinny Spano, Zahi Jarris, Spano family, who essentially put these individuals into those positions. They thanked them. You can see Lakeisha thanking the mayor. She said he trusted me, and she gives away the whole setup, how he brings her into the board of trustees first to introduce her to people and start to build a resume and a background in community service. And then she becomes the city council president out of nowhere, beating Mike Cater after all of a sudden he is involved in an investigation because he's doing something he shouldn't be doing. And there's quid quo pro, an investigation that's still ongoing, an investigation that was sent over to Mimi Roca, and now she's looking into it. But why has Mimi Roca not recused herself like she has done so in the Hector Santiago case? That's right. Mimi Roca, the Westchester County District Attorney, has recused herself from the Hector Santiago incident that happened there that night that I'll get into. Why? But not the Mike Cater case? Strange. Let's take a look at Tasha Diaz. That's number 4. Majority Leader Tasha Diaz yelling at people, screaming at constituents, calling them beggars. Yet and still, no one from the administration, from the city of Yonkers, any of these paid news publications have criticized her, really. No one at all. They've criticized everyone else, but not the majority leader, did not hold her responsible, ultimately, in my opinion, for starting the entire incident. When she said her husband has a career, not a trivial job at a grocery store, she is so pathetic that did it. I would love to know where she got her law degree. She belittled everyone that works at a grocery store. Yeah, it was very, kind of a jab. It's messed up, How dare she sit up there acting honorary to Vinny, next to Vinny, who bitched to everyone that would listen how she was messing up the race. Yeah, I've heard that they said they had to carry her along. I mean, even insiders, individuals that were close to the Democratic Party that were supporting these campaigns and working on these campaigns said that she did absolutely nothing, that they had to do all the work. This is coming from individuals who are in the Democratic Party who went door knocking and all that. Just letting you know. Also, how she allowed grown men to boo underage teens that spoke is disgusting. She was used and sold out 1,000%. And that's unfortunate. I mean, she's approving all these zoning changes that are happening all over Woodworth, Warburton, and essentially what that's doing is pushing a lot of Black people out. The luxury of developments, a lot of black people here in the city of Yonkers cannot afford them. We need more affordable housing. A super democratic majority that consists of 4 black women cannot get a housing ordinance passed. It was introduced by Shanae Williams, Mike Cater, Tasha Diaz was supporting it. Why could they not get it passed? They're Democrats. They are black women coming from low income and affordable housing themselves. Remember the CCP from CPG, Cottage Park Gardens? The housing projects that Lakeisha Collins Bellamy grew up in and takes pride in, achieving so much, coming from so far. Yet and still, they did not get a housing ordinance approved. We are having a housing crisis. People are complaining about this now. The rents are going up. So listen how Tasha Diaz spoke to everybody. And yet and still no one is blaming her. That investigation is at $700,000 so far. Guess who's paying? And he's referring to the Mike Cater investigation. I'll get into that. Yes, $700,000 is what the city of Yonkers has paid. The city of Yonkers has paid out of the taxpayer bank account, taxpayer money in this investigation against Mike Cater. 2 years damn near. For what? A year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. For what? Nothing. Just to keep Mike Cater from running for mayor. And I was talking to someone and I had an interesting theory. Was Nader Sayegh really, and Zahi Jarris really involved in getting Mike Cater, who is cousins with Zahi Jarris, out of politics because they thought about this very moment when Mike Spano would overturn term limits or change the term limits, and then there would be a lawsuit, which I'll get into, which may prevent him from running, opening up for Nader Sayegh. Now you got Mike Cater in the investigation and Mike Spano with an injunction on the term limit lawsuit filed by Michael Sussman. Nader got it made. Was that a plan by Zahi Jarris? I mean, they say he's a political genius. Hey, anything's possible in the city of Hills where nothing is on the level. Let's check out Tasha Diaz.
First and foremost, I want to commend you on what you just said and for bringing this legislation forth. Because people like us...
Well, why didn't you sign on to it?
We stick together.
And co-sponsor it.
People in here that is stating everything is about money spent. No, it's not. It's not. It's about making sure you deliver for your district. Okay? And when people say, my streets look like this and he hasn't done this, this is why you have people that you designate for certain districts.
What?
So if that person does not bring those goals back to him, they cannot be fixed. I sat here day after day and I listened to the phoniness.
Look how she talks to Corazon.
Fakeness. And smiling.
She's so jealous of Corazon.
The show is over. It ends today. Because let me tell you, y'all sit out here, y'all don't know what goes on in the back. They are playing you. They are playing on your intelligence. Because when we are back there, they're saying something else, and when they come out here, they're saying another story.
What is she referring to? She says they are playing on your intelligence. They are saying something in the back, and then they're coming out here and saying something else. Are you trying to, give us some information, right? Are you like screaming for help without letting, your handlers know that's exactly what you're doing? She is so jealous of Corazon. She's called her a broke bee. This was overheard in City Hall, and she's always gone after her. And I do want to say this, that I have heard rumors that Corazon and Vinny Spano have had an affair and had a love child. But I don't think that that's true. I have heard that from many people, actually. But what I do believe is that those are rumors. And look, I have reason to say things about Vinny Spano, obviously, right? I would want to say that, but I don't just want to lie and make things up because that's not what I do. I believe those were rumors that were created by Tasha Diaz just to get at Vinny Spano because they have this thing where they go back and forth. Just like when Vinny Spano told me about her assault on her stepdad, something that I had heard from other people, but when he called me up and told me about it to confirm it, and then told me where she'd be. I had to go over there, and I knew that it was true. Why was she not arrested and investigated? I don't know. But as far as the rumors about her, Vinny and Corazon having an affair and having a love child, in my strong opinion, I believe that those were rumors, and I've heard people saying that that was coming out of Tasha Diaz's mouth, and that she said that Zehi had told her this, and those are rumors that she was spreading. Just again, she has an issue with Corazon Pineda, and so she wanted to make her look bad. And oftentimes they have issues with her. Vinny has issues with her. If you do recall, at a meeting when she went after Sam Borelli, and she accused him of playing favoritism when it came to women and having issues with women. And so she embarrassed him live at a city council meeting that was through Zoom. And so I think that that's why Vinny did that. He kind of wanted to like check her and spank her a little bit, say, hey, you mess around, check yourself. They like Sam Borelli. Sam is their guy. So I'm going to play some more of this.
And let me tell you, there's a lot of people that spoke today that was against me, and I still help you to this day. There's churches that are sitting in here that come to me, and I provide for your parishioners.
Listen, here it comes.
And you call the cops on me. You call the cops on me.
I became majority leader to change the narrative.
Notice how no one is telling her to stop. The city council president is banging on the gavel a little bit, but she's not vocally or vocalizing, to Tasha Diaz that she needs to stop. So she's antagonizing those in the chambers there. She is antagonizing them.
The narrative of being fake. The narrative of being phony. Please allow the council members to speak.
Please allow the council members to speak. She's not speaking. She's yelling at them, and she's insulting them.
Thank you. Yes. I changed the narrative of being fake. Of being
Again, not one uniformed police officer. Who are the cops there?
phony. Because let me tell you something. When this is all said and done, whichever way the vote goes, I bet you 9 times out of 10, come tomorrow, if I come here, I'll see everybody that was in opposition leaving the second floor. Okay? And I say that because y'all are not keeping it 100%. You got people that came up here and said, I fight for this one, I fight for that one, and then when their cheerleaders go home, like I said, I'll be seeing them leaving the second floor.
Begging.
Yes.
Begging.
Begging. You're one of them.
Begging as her daughter right here sits behind Corazon. That's Tasha Diaz's daughter. And she is showing her what a woman, or how a woman is supposed to conduct herself in the city council chambers, isn't she? Sam Borelli was put in charge of the building department for one reason: approve everything the mayor wants. Absolutely. And I'll get to that in a second as well. Begging. So, as a result of her yelling at the constituents, calling them beggars, Hector Santiago, who was also there, I had left by this time. I'm telling you, God is with me. I was told to leave, and I said, I'm going to go, because I normally would have stayed. I said, I'm going to go. Something wasn't right, and I'm glad I did, because not right where I was sitting at is where Hector Santiago apparently had said to Tasha to stop yelling or shut up and vote. I don't know if it was, be quiet and vote, stop yelling and vote, or shut up and vote. But that's what he had said, apparently, or allegedly. And that sparked some kind of melee there. He was asked to leave. He didn't leave right away, apparently, allegedly there. And something happened. Crazy. Then they went outside and all hell broke loose. And I'm going to show that now. And who was responsible ultimately? That's Deanna Sanchez from Yonkers Sanctuary Movement. Look, Ron Mattin is up out of here. Look at Jeffrey Sage. Why is Jeffrey Sage allowed to stay there? Look at this guy videoing over here. Who's he? Look at Shanae. Like, is anybody going to stop it? Why is no one stopping this? At this point, it's enough. There's no need for her to continue to go. She said everything she had to say. She had insulted a lot of people. Why was it continued or allowed to continue? And then here we have an issue. There's Hector Santiago right there. He's in the back and he's actually talking to one of the black shirts. Look, he's talking to one of the black shirts. Something was funny, and Eileen O'Connor mentions it.
That didn't even give us the common courtesy to even say anything. And then I got two people that are supposed to be my colleagues that are playing the game with it.
There goes Russell Kilgore. He's going to play an important role.
My city council president, because she supported me. Like she said, I've always been a black woman. And when we came to certain black entities, they turned their back on us. Everything that I had.
Certain black entities turned their back. Now they're looking. See, they're looking. Something's going on.
I worked for everything that I had. Nobody has ever given me anything.
This is Detective Sergeant, I believe, or Detective Mateo, or DeMatteo. I'm sorry, I'm saying DeMatteo.
Nothing, because what I'm doing now, advocating, I did that for free. Okay, I was doing that for free before I came here.
This guy looks embarrassed.
Because at the end of the day, she's one-sided. She doesn't want to hear what
You're arguing with a constituent. You are a councilwoman, the majority leader. It does not matter. So people start saying vote. It's like they're waiting for this whole setup, right? Think about this. Look how long it's going. It's almost like they're getting their setup and their plan in place, right? I'm telling you, I think all this was a setup. Look how long it's taking. It's like they had this planned.
We are here because we come from the same upbringing.
Like, I mean, I don't understand this whole, like, why is she still going? So here goes Hector now. Here's Hector. This guy's trying to pull him. There goes Kilgore. Look, they're not even going after Hector, really. It seems like they're grabbing more this guy. Then Hector. Who's this guy here, folks? Who's this guy? We got to find out who this guy is. Look, they pushed this woman. Look. He's walking out. Look at all these black shirts. None of them are uniformed police officers. Why? There goes Mr. Vincent Spano. There goes Eleanor Spano, right?
I don't know what the
Why
hell
is she
happened
up?
here.
Why are certain individuals up?
What the hell happened here?
And so, I don't know if this was all a setup. I have a strange feeling this was a setup. I have a gut feeling this was all set up. Look how long it took. It's like they're getting all the people in place, right? Like, why is she just going on? After a certain time, it was like, what are you even talking about? Let's just get on and vote. And other people had yelled, just vote. Let's vote. Let's vote. And no one went after them. And it looked like they were trying to get the guy with the sweatsuit out more than anything else. It looked like he was trying to get Hector out. But was he with Hector or was he against Hector? Because there it looked like he was kind of against Hector. And then what was all these other people that were just allowed to be able to be up and around and moving about? in the mix of things and we're not told to leave? Who are these people? What do they do for the city? We have to find out who these people, folks. Who are these people? I'm going to give you a different angle here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, this is from a different angle of the camera here. And then it goes outside. And then we'll look out outside, what happened outside. This one has no audio. There goes the city council president, Michael Sabatino. He introduced the term extension the last time when it was 3. The third term, he introduced it along with Mike Breen, Michael Sabatino. And for that, he was rewarded with a $120,000 job as director of constituent services. So who's this guy with the brown jacket? Who's this guy here? So things start happening outside. They go outside. People rush outside. Now let's take a look at what happened. There goes Ron Madden. See, they're pulling this guy out first, right? This is Detective Russell Kilgore. He's on the mayor's detail. These guys, this also on the mayor's detail. These are all the black shirts. Yonkers Police Department Intelligence Unit. See, he grabs him. Hector, boom. Now, let's watch that one more time. Watch where Hector's hand goes. Where does Hector's hand go? And this is important because I'm going to read the police reporters after this. Because this was, one of the most incredible moments of political, here in Yonkers. Look at where the Hector's hand goes. And remember that. Here's the detective right here after the incident. Now, who are all these people? I mean, where are the cops? Who's this guy that's pushing people? There goes Janai Wallace. Why is she in there? No uniformed police officers. This doesn't tell me he's a cop. That just, I don't know. Maybe he works for the city. I don't even know. You can even almost overlook that, especially when there's a lot of chaos. Who's this guy here? He looks like he just came from the bar. No disrespect. I'm just saying. Then the guy from the veterans, he runs the veterans affair for Yonkers. How is he involved in talking to the guy if these, this whole police thing is going on? Why does he have that authority? Who's this guy with the trench coat here or whatever? Who is this guy here? Anybody know? He looked like he almost wanted to step on his hat. Then you got the Yonkers foodie guy. The only uniformed police officer here. It's this female officer here. It's the only uniform. Here comes Vinny Spano. He's the boss. He runs the police. Who are all these individuals? One uniformed police officer. Why was there only one uniformed police officer and the mayor's protective detail there, the Yonkers Police Intelligence Unit there? And it just looked like a setup. Folks, that looked like a setup to me. Like something was going on. They were setting it up. That's why, it looked like that's why Tasha was kind of dragging it. They were like, drag it. There's going to be a moment where we're going to have all this go on. And just to completely distract us from this term limit thing, I think, black people look bad. Black council members look bad, especially if it's true, if that's what they're going around saying, if Mike Spano's not voted. And so I don't know. Tasha should have been impeached. Her behavior was deplorable and she is a wild card. Yeah, and it's not the first time. Remember the meeting for the housing.
Let's get it popping.
That's what she said. That's what she said this.
You're watching.
No, that's my daughter.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
So she has this problem with, her behavior and controlling herself. And some of the things that she said in meetings, to other people, she's told John Rubo, the councilman of the 4th district, that she's going to F him up. She's called Corazon Pineda Isaac of District 2 a broke bee. Like, what kind of elected officials do we have here in the city of Yonkers? I don't get it. They are embarrassment to the city. Absolutely. They embarrass the entire city, not just black people, black women themselves, but the entire city. We are the 3rd largest city in the state, and we look like a clown show. Clown show. Thank God that News 12 doesn't really talk much about it. Those other news outlets don't say anything. I'm the only one that keeps it honest. That's why they've attacked me like they have been. Unbelievable. They are leaving a bad legacy behind that will never be forgotten. Absolutely. We should make this go viral. We should make that video of Tasha Diaz yelling at constituents go viral. We need to start to step up. Folks, I get it. There's retaliatory things going on. You see what's happening to me. I'm being accused of, all kinds of things, the CPS reports, everything. They're hitting me with everything they can think of. The text messages that I've been getting the past 3 days, everything. My wife is having an affair. She started divorce proceedings. She's, embarrassed. She's walking with her head down. I mean, everything they've done to me. I understand, but we have to start to speak out more and more. We have to start to share these videos. Let everyone know what's going on, the embarrassment that they are, and that we need to vote them out. The lack of uniformed police led Hector getting assaulted and the meeting to get out of control. Absolutely. And also the fact that Tasha Diaz started this whole thing, but also the city council president, by making it personal. This was not the time and place. Go do a live. You should have handled that before. Should have been talked about this, not during one of the most important meetings, if not the most important meeting of the year. That was not the place. We didn't want to hear that. I'm sorry. And that was all a distraction. That was all deflection to me, right? Why did you introduce that, Lakeisha? That was your only legislation all year. As city council president, you only introduced the term limit extension legislation. That is it. Why? No explanation, no nothing. All of a sudden, out of the blue, here you go. The way some of the council behaved was disgraceful. How embarrassing. Absolutely. And please, folks, it had nothing to do with race. And in fact, the individuals that are behind them, are the reason for it ultimately. And there's all colors behind them. It's people of all colors. It's people that are corrupt, that have taken control of our government and now abuse it. They abuse it. I mean, the reason why we can't have term limits extended is because it allows for an individual to be there long enough to really set up a system that is almost impossible to take down, allows them to infiltrate every department with its own people so that they can never be taken down. And now they control everything. And that's what makes it difficult about anyone wanting to go against Mike Spano at this point, because that's exactly what he's done. People are scared to speak out. People have gotten jobs. People are getting taken care of. People have, these things that they don't want coming out, leverage on them. And so they will do whatever they need to. It's gotten really bad. Every single department, they've got this whole system. And if you don't fall in line, you may get sent to the shrink, the crooked psychiatrist over in Hartsdale. Never thought the day would come where Mount Vernon is more civilized than Yonkers. Listen, and it's interesting that you say that. Someone was just telling me about how Mount Vernon was so ghetto compared to Yonkers, and that the elected officials here, or I should say the puppet masters, the one behind the scenes making money off the developments, would have no interest in Mount Vernon. But I don't think that's true. I think they have a lot of interest in Mount Vernon. And so you guys got to pay attention to what's happening. If you care about Mount Vernon recently, you see that the mayor of Mount Vernon went on Yonkers Voice. Then the former mayor, Richard Thomas, who said he was going to be coming on my show, kept flaking on me, then popped up on Yonkers Voice. I don't know if you use me, right? Because they like that. Oh, no, because, Ruros are calling right up. Don't go there. Come on my show. You decided to go on the show with the guy who pled guilty to sexually abusing children, had child pornography, Richard Thomas. That's not a good thing. You got to make that up to me, man. But we had a good conversation for an hour. He told me a lot. That's going to be an interesting race there. Either way, Richard Thomas, you're either going to be on the show or not. But I am going to talk about it. Just letting you know. Tony Spano and Keith Olsen practically holding and waiting for me to show up. Is that what you think they were waiting for you? I'm sorry, I didn't know. They were waiting for you to show up? Tony Spano. I know the guy in the brown jacket is. He is not a cop. He was there with the DPW guys. He's not a cop. He's there with the DPW guys. What does he do? What's his role? Because he looks like he's, a big time guy. He's running like no one's stopping him. He's doing whatever. He's straight up in the mix of everything. So who's he? The tall guy in the hallway is the next PBA president when Keith leaves. No election, just pass the torch. Well, Vinny said you're wrong, that they do have elections, right? That's what he told me. All the guys with the little badges on their shirts are cops. Yeah, they're cops. They're also called the black shirts. But for most, people, they're not going to really see that. They're not going to know that, especially right away, especially when it's all crazy, right? And so why were there not uniformed police officers? That's who should have been there. Why were there Yonkers Police Intelligence Unit guys there, right? Because again, it's all about opposition research. They want to see who's there. This is what they're doing. I believe that the administration, uses the Yonkers Intelligence Unit for their own personal political benefits. That's just my opinion. I truly believe that. The mayor didn't want uniformed cops there because he didn't want the controversial nature of the meeting on display. Also, all those cops were on overtime, and the mayor reserves that for his Gestapo. Oh, so they're getting overtime also by being there. And what do you mean that he didn't want the controversial nature because of the controversial meeting on display? Oh, that even adds to, what I'm thinking, that it was all a setup, right? Because if there had been uniform officers there, you would see Yonkers Police, boom, 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 all over, right? In the video of all this going down, it's Yonkers Police. You don't need another George Floyd or something to happen here in Yonkers, right? So that could be it. That could, wanted to keep, these guys and Vinny and Zay, these guys that meet up, the Yonkers Democratic Party, they meet, they have meetings. And they talk about all this stuff, and they talk about people like me and other people. Their names come up in meetings. My name come up in meetings, and it has. And someone told me my name was coming up in meetings, and they were discussing what to do with me. And so some people were concerned, and that's why they were telling me. They were like, I don't want nothing to happen to you. They've been meeting about you. This was, the beginning of the summertime, but, so I'm aware of that. And this is why we have to vote these people out. This is crazy. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's unfair. It causes, this income inequality we have here. We have to vote these people out, man. I mean, folks, I don't know what else to say. We have to vote these people out. Otherwise, this place is just going to remain, corrupt forever. Look at these roads, horrible roads. We're going to be a freaking circus. Our politics is a circus, right? And who's going to be the next mayor after Mike Spano if he wins again, does another? Will it be a 5th term? Will it be a 6th term? Right? Will we ever have, a real government that represents the people here in the city of Yonkers? We need to come out and vote next year. It's very important. Read the police report on the Yonkers City Council term limits meeting. So really quick, this is the Yonkers Times. They put out the police report, and I just, wanted to kind of go over it. I mean, it was kind of, I don't know if it matched up all the way. It says we spoke to Hector Santiago, and who told us he believes the video shows a highly charged police officer, strike back at Santiago. We also see Santiago nudge the officer before it escalates, and New York State criminal law prohibits a civilian from touching a police officer. We have spoke to people in the chambers, elected officials, and members of the Yonkers police. All say the same thing. They wish this incident did not happen. Over the Christmas holiday, we did receive the police report in response to our FOIL. Interesting, again, how the Yonkers Times, the Yonkers Voice, and the Yonkers Tribune, the ones that are paid by the city, are able to get FOIA requests so quickly, so easily. I mean, look how quick they get this stuff, right? Community members have the right to speak and be heard in accordance with the rules and procedures set in place by the governing body. And although discretion and reservations are the guiding law enforcement principle at meetings of this nature, no person has a right to disrupt, interrupt, or prevent the operation of government. What do you mean? Prevent a council person from yelling and belittling constituents, calling them beggars? Is that what you mean? What's his name? Dan Murphy. As such, by the way, Dan Murphy did call me up, in the beginning, say he likes what I'm doing. Thank you, Dan. As such, police will first attempt to mediate with unruly people and then, if necessary, escort them from the premises. In rare instances, arrest them, blah, blah, blah. The incident, like all criminal incidents, will be adjudicated in court of the law with due process afforded to all parties. Additionally, as a standard practice in any event where members of the department utilize force, the incident and arrest are being reviewed internally by command staff and the end of YPD statement. The police report includes the following. Now listen to this. On this date, members of the Yonkers Police Intelligence Division were directed to the Yonkers City Council chambers to conduct a protective detail during a public hearing. A protective detail. Okay. Members of the intelligence division were clearly identified as police officers. I don't think that's true. Were clearly identified as police officers with YPD insignia displayed on the outermost garment. And this is not against the cops. I'm not against YPD. I want to make that again very clear. We have to understand what's happening here, right? While at the scene, the room was filled to capacity and tensions began to escalate as speakers from the public discussed city matters for 3 minutes at a time. While city council members were addressing the room, several arguments began to erupt between the occupants of the chamber. So he says nothing about Tasha Diaz. He says while city council members were addressing the room, you mean screaming, yelling, insulting the room. That's what you mean, Dan Murphy. What do they have on you, Dan? Do they have something on you? Because blackmail, I see why Zahi Jarris was charged and convicted of blackmail. This is what they do. Blackmail people. The city council president, Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, on several occasions advised the patrons in the room that if any individual continues to be unruly, they would be asked to leave. Not once did she say that during the argument or the yelling that Tasha Diaz was doing. An argument began to escalate in my proximity between a male Hispanic, later identified as Hector Santiago, and several males. Mr. Santiago was also standing up and yelling at the city council members. Mr. Santiago was cupping his hands around his mouth to amplify his voice, which continued to disrupt the proceedings. As Mr. Santiago continued to yell at the city council president again asked for order several times, referring to the crowd. Is that what you saw happen there? As the crowd began to settle, Mr. Santiago continued to amplify his voice by again cupping his mouth and directing his words at the city council, causing the proceedings to cease and numerous people to redirect their attention away from the meeting and towards his actions, right? The assigned detective then approached Mr. Santiago with the intent to speak with him and diffuse the situation. However, that's not true. The assigned detective did not speak to him, actually. He was speaking to the other guy, and that's referring to Detective Kilgore. With a low, even tone, I asked Mr. Santiago to lower his voice. Mr. Santiago then shouted at me, stating, "Fuck that, tell that shit to these guys," pointing in the direction of other members of the chamber. I again advised Mr. Santiago to lower his voice, to which he responded, "I don't have to do shit." Excuse my language. I then advised Mr. Santiago that if he did not cease his actions, I would have to escort him out of the chamber in order to allow the proceedings to continue peacefully. Mr. Santiago then turned towards me in an argumentative manner and shouted, "I ain't going nowhere," causing several people to turn and look to see what was going on. I then advised Mr. Santiago that due to his actions, he had to leave the chamber. The assigned detective then attempted to guide Mr. Santiago in the direction of the exit by placing his hand at the small of his back. Mr. Santiago then began yelling and stiffened his body, refusing to leave the room. Detective Newman and Detective Specialist Licht then assisted the assigned detective in attempting to escort Mr. Santiago towards the exit. Mr. Santiago continued to yell, causing several people in the chamber to respond to our side of the room to see what was happening and again redirect their attention away from the meeting. As Detective Specialist and Detective Newman were guiding Mr. Santiago towards the exit, he continued to stiffen his body and pull away from the said detectives. During these actions, Donnell McCall began to grab Mr. Santiago to move him towards the exit. His actions separated the detective from Santiago, at which time the detective then advised McCall to release Mr. Santiago, to which he complied. PK1, McCall was then escorted out to the chamber by assigned detective and special detective. Mr. Santiago was then escorted out of the chambers by assisting detectives. The assigned detective was in the hallway outside the city council chambers, speaking with McCall, attempting to calm the situation. At this time, Detective DiMatteo exited the chambers with Mr. Santiago. Detective DiMatteo passed Mr. Santiago off to the assigned detective to escort Mr. Santiago away from the proceeding. As the assigned detective began to guide Mr. Santiago towards the stairway area, Mr. Santiago yelled, "Get the fuck off me," and struck the assigned detective in the chest and neck area with his elbow and forearm in an upward motion, forcefully jolting me back. At this time, the assigned quickly reacted and struck Mr. Santiago once with a closed fist in the face in order to stop his actions and to place him under arrest. The assigned detective then attempted to detain Mr. Santiago by grabbing a hold of his upper torso as he continued to actively resist by turning away from me and refusing to comply. Numerous officers then grabbed a hold of Mr. Santiago and took him to the ground. Detective Specialist Licht, or whatever his name is, was then able to place Mr. Santiago under arrest without further incident. Mr. Santiago was then escorted out the building into the police car. Santiago was taken to St. Joseph Hospitals, where he was treated for minor abrasions. It should be noted that Mr. Santiago had a prior injury to his right shoulder and was wearing a sling at the time of his arrest. CSU responded to the hospital for photographs. During the altercation with Mr. Santiago, the assigned detective, Detective Kilgore, experienced a twinge and stiffness in my right neck area, causing pain and discomfort. I responded to St. John's Hospital, where I was treated by Dr. Fortunato for a neck sprain. I was released and remain on duty. Interesting to note, he went to St. John's as opposed to St. Joseph's, which was closer, where Hector Santiago went to. St. John's is connected to the Spano family, Empire Strategic Planning, and so is St. Joseph as well, but just thought that was interesting. Santiago was then transported to Central Booking, where he was charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and assault on a police officer. The assigned detective to respond to Yonkers DA's office filed charges. Because of the charge of assaulting an officer, Santiago spent the night in jail until an assistant district attorney could review the charges. After finding that neither the police officer identified as Detective Russell Kilgore nor Santiago was seriously injured, the assault charge was dropped. Eileen O'Connor, who was in the council chambers, posted her thought. I witnessed this event at Yonkers City Hall at the city council meeting, and it made me sick and angry. Hector was standing in back of me, telling Tasha Diaz to stop talking and vote. This is according to Eileen O'Connor of Indivisible. He repeated that several times, then was surrounded by black shirts who told him they wanted to talk with him outside. No IDs as cops. Couldn't tell who they were. They walked him outside the chamber to the hall, and that's where I lost sight of him. The black shirts triggered this incident. Hector Santiago, founder of Stop and Shake, was a casualty of police black shirt violence. Despicable. The Yonkers underbelly was on full view both nights. I see this as a call to all decent-minded people to stand up to this mob goon mindset. The Yonkers City Council needs to stand up and start showing leadership here. The statements made by the Yonkers City Council President and Councilwoman Tasha Diaz set the stage for this. It all seemed orchestrated, end quote. And I agree, Eileen. I agree. It all seemed orchestrated to me. Every single thing. Something is not right. Folks, you hear what she said. This should be a call to all decent-minded people to stand up. Stand up. Speak out to this mob goon mindset. Where if you say your opinion, they will attack you. They will harass you. They will call CPS on you. CPS, Child Protective Services. They will use their agencies to attack you. No one wants this fourth term except those who are benefiting from it in some form of fashion. That is a fact. That is a fact. They are turning up the city upside down, looking for who are the sources, and I will not give you guys up. I promise you that. Don't let them lie to you. I said that, or I posted those Vinny Spano texts because I wanted people to see who they are, the liars that they are. I wanted people to see how they turn on each other. And I only did it after they called CPS on me. I was told how it went down. I know all about it. Vinny Spano was involved. So I released those text messages because I want the city to see who he is, who these individuals are. And it's time to vote them out. We cannot afford another 4 years. Hey, developers, that doesn't mean that your projects are done. Doesn't mean that. But the people of the city of Yonkers are tired. The people, many who work for the city, are tired. They are sending people to these crooked shrinks, getting them terminated for retaliatory reasons, going after citizens who speak out like Carolyn, me, Anthony DiMaggio, 15 years on the police force, the lieutenant who scored 100 on the lieutenant's test, who has had nothing but great recommendations, great things said about him until he spoke out. And then they set him up and got him fired, taking away his job, his career, his pension, the way he earned his income. And they've done this to other individuals recently. One of them became suicidal, so they brought him back on the job, because if he killed himself because they did that to him, that would be big. That would have just blown it all wide open, because the guy's mother would have went on every camera, news camera that would put her on and said, they fired my son because he knows about the bullshit that's going on there. And he has the information. He has the videos. This is why they are trying to come at me, because I'm encouraging people to speak up, stand up, and let's vote next year, 2023. Let's ring in this new year, looking forward to voting these people out. Everyone has a stake in it. Everyone has a reason to vote for someone else. Everyone, whether you're on the north side, east side, west side, everyone has a reason. East side folks, they're coming to destroy your peaceful neighborhood over there. You heard Tasha Diaz. We got to make it even. Put more buildings over there. Bring MGM Grand, the hotel, and all the traffic that's going to come from the people from all over coming to gamble, the crime, the traffic, the crowds, the noise. It's not going to be a peaceful community of houses over there. It's the east side. They're going to change the zoning laws. These developers know it, so they buy the property ahead of time. And then they change the zoning laws. They're going to put buildings. They got to put people that are being kicked out from this west side somewhere. They got to go somewhere. You heard Tasha Diaz. She doesn't want to see neighborhoods that are all Hispanic and all black. That's what she said recently when they were discussing redistricting. And it's got to be equal number of houses and buildings. I see some districts that mostly have houses. What is she saying? District 6, District 4, District 5. But who is she saying that on behalf of? You have to Focus, folks. We have to come out and vote. It's very important. Uniformed cops are authority figures. They're used when resistance to something is expected because their presence is a deterrent to disruptive behavior. Exactly. The mayor wants to give the impression that there is little to or no resistance to his fourth term, so he doesn't use uniformed cops. And also, they don't want to, yeah, that's true. And also, maybe he wanted stuff to pop up, right? Like, again, that's their plan. They wanted it to be hyped up, and something was going to happen, and they didn't want to see, this picture of a bunch of Yonkers police officers in their uniform, somebody like Hector Santiago in a sling on the floor. The assigned detective reacted to a push with the use of excessive force to let him know who was the boss. That cop actually came up to me. He was nice. He said, hey, when you're ready to go, I'll escort you out the meeting the night before. I wasn't asked to leave, and he's always been a good guy. And so I don't know what happened there. And I don't want to say anything negative, but I want to give it to you like it is. I mean, it says that Hector elbowed him. I didn't see that. I saw him kind of push off a little bit, mostly toward like the chest area. I don't know how much really anything he did, compared to that punch. And then, it says that his neck and whatever was hurting, I don't know, it's crazy. I don't know what happened. Detective DiMatteo was the most professional officer there. That's another good officer. Respect to him. Shout out to you. I've dealt with him before. I've had my experiences with him. Always been a gentleman, stand-up guy. Shout out to you. He tried to de-escalate the situation, but got killed. Yeah, he did try to de-escalate even in the, at the beginning inside the council chamber when Hector was kind of, fighting it out with the other guy. He kind of said, I got it. Come here. Come on. Come with me. Like, kind of like, me. Come on. Come with me. And so, what about the chambers? What about the council members? What role did they play? Why do they not hold responsibility? But folks, the number one most incredible moment in Yonkers politics is the overturning of the term limits by our Yonkers City Council. That is the most incredible moment of 2022. And I want to play you what Corazon Pineda Isaac has to say.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all for being here today. And first, I'd like to excuse my cough outburst. I'm not feeling too great, but yesterday, today, and throughout this entire process, it really does excite me to see this much engagement. It is my wish that it continues on the many important topics and matters that come before the City Council. But I think what's most important about today is the how and not the what or the who. I think what is most concerning and what feels most disenfranchising about all of this is how it has all occurred. On October 21st, I, along with Majority Leader and Council President, we were at the Chima Center for the 3rd Precinct Police Council meeting. And at that meeting, we were questioned about what our position was for term limits. My colleagues stated at that meeting that that topic was just a rumor and that they didn't have a position and were focused on city issues that were before us. 3 weeks later, it's no longer a rumor. Let's continue to go through that timeline. Now fast forward to November 10th. The item is introduced and the local law before us in relation to term limits is on the record. That Tuesday, we have a Rules Committee meeting, and Councilmember Rubo stated that this topic had been discussed at length. I asked my colleague across the aisle that how many examples can you show me that this item was discussed at length? Because what measuring stick are you using to show the length of that discussion? Because I have not seen that. Tuesday, November 15th, was the first time that we as a caucus even spoke about it. All 5 of us. And that was hardly a conversation. That same Tuesday, a public hearing / town hall was scheduled for the following Monday. And a vote was scheduled for today. So from introduction to today, it has been 10 days. 10 days, ladies and gentlemen. Our town hall yesterday, it did last 4.5 hours, and that was great. We had about 90 speakers, and percentage-wise, that is 0.045% of the 200,000 residents that live We want to create a consensus, or we're creating a consensus from the opinions of 0.45% of residents that spoke yesterday. You said the majority of them spoke in favor. That's fine. But 90 people out of 200,000 have given their opinion yesterday in public. We have 475 letters in support, 43 letters against, a petition with 342 names that have signed it against. And I give you these numbers to highlight that these numbers may seem large, but in relation to the 200,000 plus residents that reside here, that is not nearly enough to make a decision of this magnitude. This year, this body passed a law that changed how landlords were required to take out the garbage. We didn't get nearly as many emails or response as we did with term limits, and yet that launch was pushed to 2023. So we're being more considerate about how we deliver trash regulations, and instead we're treating the people's will and their right like trash. We did it in 2018, now we're doing it in 2022. I believe that 4 years from now, the proposal's gonna come before us again. 4 years from then, we're gonna keep setting this precedent, and we can continue, that this body can continue to do this. We cannot. It's not about one person, it's about what we're doing and how we're doing it. That's what Maya Angelou said. I've learned that people forget what you said, they forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. To make this for themselves is insane. I've heard that the referendum voted by the people in 1996 and in 2002 are outdated and do not reflect how people feel now. I've heard that from folks. If that is a fact, all many of us are asking you to do is allow people to prove that. Prove to us that what many of you are assuming is the will of the people. We're making that assumption because we haven't given this enough time to really determine if this is truly the consensus that comes from the people. If this body truly felt that voting for this ourselves was the best course of action, then we should have begun this conversation in January, in February, in May, in September, in October, but we did not. On November 10th, this item was introduced. On November 22nd, we are voting for it. We should have hosted numerous town halls on the east side, on the west side. If we, this body, wanted to vote for this, we should have allowed real engagement from constituents and created a real process. The amount of time that we gave into this is disrespectful, and for that reason, I was voting no.
Fatality.
I do not always agree with her politics, but this speech was spot on. Yes, it was. It was spot on. But it was a little too late. Right? What is the saying goes? Is it a dollar short or whatever? A little late, a dollar short, a day late, a dollar short or whatever. Close but no cigar. It was too late. Great speech at this point, but it was too late. We needed you to be this person, this council member from day one, Corazon. But you played the game at times, and it cost the people of the city of Yonkers. And so now you're saying this, and we appreciate it, but we know that you want to run for mayor, and we know that you're getting support from certain individuals. But again, you were part of it, Corazon, and I'm not going to be able to forget that. Folks, these people killed the housing ordinance and have not passed it. They extended the term limits. They say they're Democrats, but they're Republicans. Democrats. They are Republicans. And I'm not saying anything negative about Republicans. I just want you to know, Democrats, who you're really voting for. Remember, Mike Spano, John Rubo.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were. I want
Tasha, hold on, not yet. Mike Spano, John Rubo were Republicans. Remember that. They were against the housing ordinance. The mayor vetoed it. That's not very democratic of you, Mayor. Are they really Democrats? I don't think so, folks. So all you Democrats out there, make sure that you vote for the right person. Don't vote for party. Vote for the right person, because Democrats in Yonkers are Republicans. That's for sure. They all suck, especially the ones that voted for term extension. If the mayor was so popular and doing such a great job, why not bring it to the people? Exactly. And that's what Corazon was saying. That's what a lot of people have said. If the mayor was as popular as everybody, or as they want you to think, then why not have a public referendum? That would have made it look good. If the people truly wanted Mike Spano to run again, and that was the truth, that everybody wanted it, including the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, who were forced to write that letter, then they would have done a public referendum, because it would have made them look good. It would have made the mayor look even better. It was like, look, the people want it. We did a public referendum and they voted for it. So it's the people's will. But they knew that that would not happen. They knew that the people did not want a fourth term. And even though they may have liked Mike Spano, it's not about Spano. It's about democracy. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Happy New Year, everybody. 2023 is going to be a big year. We have to come out and vote. We have to get involved. It's important. They're stealing our city right from under us. Many of you are getting pushed out, or we all will eventually. Rents are going up. Cost of living is going up. Water bill is going up. Your taxes are going up. But the developers are getting the tax breaks. The developers are getting their businesses supported by the city. They're getting millions of dollars to stay in business. Right, John? Rubo, did you get a better lease from AMS after they bought the trolley barn because you would not have been able to stay in business otherwise? And is that why you favor AMS acquisitions in everything that comes before the city of Yonkers? Chicken Island, you are the chair of the real estate committee. Tasha Diaz, you killed the housing orders and did nothing to produce another one. You have done nothing for housing, nothing for education, nothing for the people, except stand around while pantries throughout this Westchester County have been so gracious to give to the people. Thank you to Feeding Westchester. Thank you to Ridgeway Alliance and their congregation and the people that donate there. No thank you to Tasha Diaz, who steals it from the people and takes credit for it. Your time is done. Shanae, you stood there with a smile. Too much ganja, lady. Not while you're at work. That's why you didn't do such a great job in the first district. I'm just saying. And District 5, Mike Breen. He was the one that introduced it along. Well, he also introduced it along with Sabatino for the third term. Remember, Mike Breen. They introduced the third term extension at that time. Sabatino got a job. Mike Breen is hoping for a job as well for doing so. Mike Breen also alone introduced legislation to reduce the requirements for the commissioner of the building department so that Sam Borelli, the DPW deputy commissioner, could become the commissioner of the building department because he was not a licensed engineer. He didn't meet the qualifications. So they lowered it. And then they just hired a deputy building department commissioner with an engineer's license. Why could they not find a commissioner for the building department with a license? Because no one would sign off on these projects. They were not going to risk their licenses, their careers, their reputation. No way, Jose. It's a lot of corruption going on here in the city of Yonkers, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. If you haven't been following me for very long, make sure you stay tuned. It's only going to get better. I promise you that. We have saved the best for last, and we got to wait for the primaries and the general election to really strike. But they're going to strike even harder. They're threatening to release some video of me again. So you may be seeing another video of me. I don't know what that video is going to be about. I don't know. Maybe. I really don't know. I don't know what these people are doing. I know they're following me. They're doing videos. They're harassing me. I'm getting text messages. There may be another CPS call. I may get a third one, folks. I may go into the new year with 10 CPS calls. That's right, because they continue to call. And I heard from an anonymous source allegedly that Jamie McGill Spano has it out for me. She wants to destroy me. She is hell-bent on taking out Freddy Vasquez. Jamie, you guys called CPS on me first. And let's hope that 2023, Jamie, doesn't bring a CPS war. Because you know what the deal is. You know. And I got videos of that pool party. People are good. Jamie, we can stop this or we can continue to go. But who do you think has the most to be concerned about? Who? And by the way, the feds are here. They're watching. You guys need to watch it. Tasha, you're going to get thrown under the bus. Lakeisha, be careful. A lot of you are going to get thrown under the bus. Erwin, you too. Your best friend, he's prepping the narrative to throw you under the bus also. The game is over. The party is over. La fiesta se acabó. I'm Freddy Vasquez, Basement Politics. Happy New Year, everybody. I love you. Thank you for supporting me. And please don't believe the BS. And tell a friend to tell a friend that Freddy Vasquez is none of that garbage that they try to say. And I'm not going to out you. That's what they want people to think, that I'm going to out my sources. No, I'm not. Vinny Spano deserved what he got. Besides, he's a part of the problem. They all suck, especially the ones that voted for term extension at the mayor. I read that. I really have nothing against the mayor. We all know it was Mr. ABC. That is Zahi Jerris, Mr. All About Cash. Behind my brother's downfall. I would just love to have it go to vote by the people. Instead, now we have to lawsuit and possibly 2 more down the pipeline. Way to go, costing the citizens big bucks. That's right, because who are going to pay for these mayor's lawsuits? The taxpayers. Do you want to vote for a man that's going to have a bunch of lawsuits? No, we cannot afford these lawsuits, people. And Mr. Johnny Limo, Mr. Zahi operates here in the city of Yonkers because he's allowed to. Nick Spano allows him to. They knew that your brother could beat Mike Spano and Nader Sage. They both wanted your brother out. Let's be honest. Let's just keep it real. Zahi Jerris works for the Spanos. It's a fact. He is their political assassin. He gets all the minions lined up, along with the Democratic Committee, Tom Meyer and Meyer Jr., all your little minions, CPS callers, hiding behind your fake pages and your anonymous text messages and phone numbers and all that. You won't tell me who you are and show your face because you're scared to. Yeah, continue to call CPS. Continue to abuse the system. Johnny, don't kid yourself. You know who that was. Happy New Year's, Freddie. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate it. Whatever your name is. Happy New Year. Great job. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Folks, please, let's share it. It's time for this to end. We have to become vocal. They don't want this to come out. That's why they're attacking me. This is too much for them. So we have to become vocal. The more that talk, the more that hear, the louder it is, the more that will get done. We have to become vocal. Enough is enough. 2023 is the year we end it, right, folks? We do it together. Happy New Year's. Looking forward to starting afresh for the bigger cause and not the big cause. That's right, Hector. I'm ready for you to come on the show, baby. Let's do it. You know, listen, it's that time. Don't let them use you. Don't let them use us. We have to be smarter. It's our time. It's our time. Do we want to remain at the bottom forever, scared to take the risk? Scared money don't make no money. I'm Freddy Vasquez. This is Basement Politics. Happy New Year. God bless you, everyone. God bless you. Shout out to the Yonkers police officers, first responders who are working tonight. May you be safe out there. prayers go out to you. Spanos don't know war. If they did, they would have came after him first time when he challenged Liam. Slick Nick, aka disgraced ex-senator, only went in on the plan because Mr. ABC was hell-bent on hurting Cater. That's why they used Zahi. Like you said, they don't know war, but Zahi does. He's a scammer. He's been in jail. That's what he does. All kinds of crimes he's been charged and convicted for. He's a 2-time felon, as you say. Anyway, folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. I'm up out here. We got less than 2 hours to the New Year's. New Year, not New Year. New Year. I wish you all the best in this coming year. I really do. I wish you all the best. And to the haters out there, keep hating. No matter what you do, you're not going to stop Freddie Vasquez. They're threatening me saying, when the next video comes out, I don't know, supposedly a video of me fondling somebody or whatever, I'm not going to be able to operate a daycare center. I said, it don't matter. I'll operate Basement Politics still, right? And that's all that matters. As long as Basement Politics continues to operate, it doesn't matter, Frankie. It doesn't matter, Jeffrey. It doesn't matter, Joey. It doesn't matter, Nater, Zahi, and all you little goons. You guys are losers for doing what you do. Do it like I do it. You can't, because you're losers. Sorry I ruined the plan, Jamie. I didn't know that Vinny wanted to be the mayor. Karma is a motherfucker. Stay tuned. Scared money don't make no money. Vinny Spano told me his wife really wanted him to be the mayor. Did I ruin the plans, Jamie? Ay, bendito. I was trying to work with them. I was trying. Ay, bendito.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez. You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins.
That's right.
Fatality.
That's my family right there, and I'll protect them, and I'll go all the way. How far you guys are willing to go? How far are you willing to go? I'm in it for the long haul. Basement Politics will continue in 2023. Best believe it. It's time for change, and I'm here for change. God bless you all.